Hey, you don't have to be the richest guy to be somebody or the best looking guy to be somebody. I'm a great example of that, I tell them. I said, I'm short, I'm ugly, I'm not the greatest athlete, but I made it. If I made it, you can make it. It's just your mindset, it's your attitude. When you do that, when you manifest that and see that and visualize that, you see your life differently. Visualization is so important. You got to see yourself doing it before you do it.
Hey everyone, it's Tamara Thompson with Broadcast Your Authority, and I am super excited and grateful for our next guest who's tapping in virtually today. I remember this individual's story back when I watched the film Rudy back in 1993. Rudy Ruettiger is an American motivational speaker and author who played college football for Notre Dame Fighting Irish. In his early years, it really inspired that movie. And, you know, it was funny. I was doing some research one day and I was like, he's a motivational speaker. He's an amazing individual that goes out and speaks to conferences, companies, entrepreneur groups, things like that. And I just remember the movie so much. I remember watching it, crying, watching it again, crying again, being inspired. But I'm so grateful that we're able to introduce him today. But we're going to play a little clip first.
I always thought I was too stupid or I was too short. I'm not quick enough. You don't listen to the goofy thoughts. Believe in everything you do, everything. And you know, something great might happen.
That guy's a real inspiration.
You know that's not the real Rudy, right?
I'm sort of the Rudy.
There was a guy played with us. His name was Pat Sarb, and kind of an interesting story because Pat did go in to see Coach Devine. Could you have Rudy dress in my spot? And of course, he agreed to do it. 20-some years later, his young son walked on and wore Rudy's number 45.
You know, it starts with a dream, and it's always too soon to quit.
Awesome. I'm so excited to introduce Rudy to the stage on the podcast today. Rudy, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, that's right. Rudy.
I know. I literally just want to be like, Rudy.
He's never heard that before.
Yeah, never.
He's like every time.
One time. But it's never original. Never boring to hear it again.
I'm sure
It isn't. But Rudy, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you.
No, listen, I'm excited. I wish I would have known you were going to be in Vegas. I have a budget meeting at 11, but had changed some things around. But here we are. This is good.
Well, you know, I was talking to Cheryl, and she was like, "Next time you're in town, she's like, let's make it happen in person. So let's figure out a way at a time."
You look like you're a lot of fun.
Oh, well, you're a lot of fun, and your story is super inspiring.
Yeah.
It was funny because I was literally trying to think about some guests coming up on the show, and your name just came up. And I actually rewatched the movie Rudy this year again for probably the 22nd time, but I'm not counting. But thank you again for being here, and I appreciate your time. For those people that may not know your backstory or have seen the movie, and if you haven't seen the movie, you should see the movie. Can you tell people a little bit more for our audience members who might not know about your story and experience that you had at Notre Dame?
Yeah, I think it all begins back when you're a child, um, getting that feeling for Notre Dame. My family, I'm one of 14, and Notre Dame gave the family hope. Unfortunately, because I wanted to go to Notre Dame, I couldn't go to Notre Dame because I was not a good student. And because of my learning disorder, dyslexia, I found out years later that I was kind of put down by teachers and put in the back row by teachers because they didn't understand my behavior. And it became very painful, very frustrating, not knowing what was wrong, why I can't read or write or comprehend information like my other friends. But anyhow, you get over that because I went from high school to the power plant, worked there, then I went into the Navy from the power plant because of the Vietnam War, joined the Navy, came back from the Navy, went back to the power plant, and that's when the moment happened of I had a tragedy at work to where my friend was killed, and I gave myself up to God, and I said, let go, let God tell me what to do. And the feeling was go towards Notre Dame. Now I'm going towards Notre Dame with nothing other than a dream. I had no credentials. Third of my class from the bottom, you're not going to get Notre Dame. But when you go towards the dream, when you eliminate all the goofy thoughts I call and all the past from your life and live in the moment, great things happen. And this is what happened. When I pulled up to South Bend, Indiana, I saw a little junior college on the right, and that was my answer immediately. My answer to Notre Dame. So I went in there, talked to the brother. Probably 100 kids were at that school at the time, and he was in the Navy as well. So we connected, and he never asked me my past. He said we're going to develop a game plan, which he did, and that game plan worked. I got to Notre Dame, and I got to play football. I was 25 years old when I finally got in. I was a veteran. I was 27 years old when I played. I did get the tackle. I wasn't offsides, but all the preparation you made for that moment is a lesson that we should prepare and do first things first before the big dream happens. And that's what I had to learn. But the Navy taught me that through just many, many lessons of gratitude, of having your own shoes, your own socks, your own underwear, your own shirt. I mean, I didn't never have that when I was young because I was always fighting against brothers for your stuff. So when you have your own stuff, you appreciate it more and you have gratitude. So gratitude became a very important part of my life, of the things I thought I needed, I didn't need, that I now have, that were kind of like, wow, it's good when you earn it. So things start happening differently for me because of work ethic and getting better each day through school and education and through sports and everything, because sports is a very big platform, learning how to work together as a team. It's not about religion. It's not about color, race. It's about teammates. And that's the brotherhood you created on that team. But I also learned that in the military. Brotherhood, sisterhood is very important. We all have each other's back, or all help each other get better. Boy, that was the key to my success. So then you get a movie idea, and because you're inspired by the movie Rocky, and again, I do the same journey. I go out to Hollywood not knowing what to do, how to do it. End up meeting people. 10 years later, I get the movie made, and now Rudy's out. We just did a director's cut on Rudy, which is a better movie now. We put all the scenes that we took out back in. People in that movie became superstars, from Jon Favreau, Vince Vaughn, Sean Astin, go on and on. That movie kind of launched some of their careers into big time careers. So, yeah, I'm glad I didn't quit on my dream. I'm glad I have that inspiration to eliminate the past and live in the moment and just keep moving forward and don't worry about what other people say or think, because you still get, the comments from people. It's okay. That I did it, they didn't. So that's their problem, not mine.
Exactly. You never quit. They might have quit.
Yeah. I mean, you had a goal,
Yeah.
you had a dream, you had excitement, you had enthusiasm. You laughed, you cried, and that's part of life. You had to have a sense of humor, and you had to get, you got to do those things in life to make it. And Notre Dame was no different. Listen, I meet a lot of great people. I met 4 presidents, had dinner with presidents. I speak to the top Fortune 500 companies in the world. I've been all over the world speaking, and I learned I didn't want to be a speaker, but now that I have to speak, I learn how to speak differently than most speakers, and I love to see people move in my speeches, and people come up to you and say, "I needed to hear this." So that's important. I think in a speech, I don't like to give information out that I don't understand. I only give information out that I understand. Work ethic. It's like the great Kobe Bryant when he met me in LA when my daughter was singing the national anthem for the Lakers. He searched me out and told me how much the movie meant to him. It changed his life, launched him into the NBA, and he became a superstar. And not that he didn't make, he had there was a whole different journey we do. We learn as people, and we learn as human beings. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to be okay. It's okay not to be okay, if that makes sense. Learning that we're not perfect human beings, so we're all going to fall on our face. Just get back up. You're going to get ridiculed. That's okay. Just have a sense of humor and say, I get it. And you don't have to associate with those people, talk to those people, get information from those people, or get empowered by those people. You go to the people who will empower your thoughts. Just like the little brother at Notre Dame and the tutor at Notre Dame, the janitor at Notre Dame, and all the people that were important to me empowered me instead of putting me down. So, but you're going to go through that. You're going to have that. Just got to learn to deal with the people that empower you, and that's the key.
So, how did Rudy become a motion picture? I know you said you went to. Did you write the movie? Who wrote the movie?
Yeah.
Like, how did you get this started? And how did you find those people that loved you so much?
Yeah, I like it. Ordinary people help me find the right people. Now, look. In order to do a movie, they say you need a book or a script. I had nothing. I don't know what to do because I don't know what to do to make a movie, but I was inspired. Now, when you're inspired and you get the enthusiasm, you're going to meet people that have the same energy, but you can go through a lot of people that tell you something they don't really mean, and they don't really do what they say they're going to do, but you learn from them anyhow. And that's what I had to learn out in Hollywood. There's a lot of people who say they're going to do this, never do it. And they know people that they don't know that I should know. So I went and searched. I learned from those people what to do just by what they were talking about that they're not doing. Most people never do what they want to do because they talk about what they want to do, but never do what they want to do. And you can spot that by what they're doing in life. If you want to be a broadcaster, if you want to be a movie star, if you want to be an actress, if you want to be an electrician, do the work, get involved, and learn to take the bumps and learn how to take the hits and get back up. So you learn that by them not telling you what to do, but they empower your thought. That's the winner. And that's the guy you want to listen to. He will never tell you what to do. He will always empower you to do more. And that's what I learned to get a good people around me in Hollywood that knew that. And I wanted to get to this one guy because I love the movie Hoosiers. Rocky was my inspiration to do this. It took 10 years to get Rudy made. But once I got inspired, I was on that journey to go find that one guy that will understand this message of the journey, not football, not Catholicism, not Notre Dame, But what it represents to have faith, what's it represent to have religion, what's it represents to have good people around you and mentoring around you. So it could come from anywhere, just not Notre Dame. So, but I had Notre Dame because it would give my father hope because he worked 3 jobs. And if he had a son go to Notre Dame, that's like the Stanley Cup to him, or win the world. But my whole point is you want to make your dad proud because he worked hard to raise a family. So Notre Dame, if you have a dream, you got to have it bigger than yours. You got to do it for something bigger than yours. And that's what was my motivation. And even for the movie, because I wanted to, it wasn't about me. It was for something much bigger. It's about hope. And I knew that, but you can't explain that to people. And you don't need to explain that to people because the people who want to see you do well will empower you. And you will find those people along the way. And when I went out to Hollywood, that's what happened. Exactly that. I found a lot of people, and I got an ordinary person. You ready for this? About 8 years in the deal, I was introduced to a gentleman who knew the people from Hoosiers. He was a brother of a brother who got me out to Hollywood, back out to Hollywood after 9 years to go meet the writer of Hoosiers. And I went to meet him, and he stood me up. He didn't show up for the meeting. Yeah, which is okay. So an injustice creates an opportunity. Remember that.
Yeah.
So when something happens, that's why I sold insurance for 10 years to learn about no-shows.
Like sales calls.
So I had to learn all that. But I was used to that, so it didn't affect me like it affected my friend who never had that experience. So it didn't affect me the way it affected him. But I said, look, it's okay. I'll go find him. He said, Rudy, you're crazy. I said, no, I'm just going to go find him. You sit here and I'll be right. I'm in, believe it or not, in 10th and Montana in California, at a little Italian restaurant. And when you're sitting there waiting for Angelo, what are you going to do? So you walk out of the restaurant, a little restaurant door, you see a mailman with a smile, and all you did was thank him. And when you thanked him, he said, dude, where are you from? No one ever thanked me for what I'm doing. I said, no, you smile and you have gratitude. I know, I can see it in you. He said, yeah, I'm from Michigan. I said, see, you could be passing this stuff out in the snow. So he liked my sense of humor. And we connected and we started developing a relationship within 5 minutes. And he asked me why I'm out there. And I told him I'm trying to get a movie made. He said he hears that all the time. But what's your story? And I told him the guy was supposed to meet. He liked the story. He said, come on, follow me. I know right where that dude lives. I passed his mail. And he took me right to his house. And when Angelo answered the door, he was a little surprised that I found him. He said, how'd you find him?
Right.
And I said, never mind, but you're late for lunch. Because the mailman told me, don't tell him how you found him.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
And when he said he's not going to do another sports story, he doesn't want to be labeled, and he hates Notre Dame, I knew he was the right guy.
Yeah.
Because he was not a Notre Dame fanatic. And this is not about Notre Dame, but he was a good writer. And he knew how to bring out emotions in a message in a movie. And I knew he was but you can't tell him that right away. So we did go back out to lunch, but we never talked about the movie because I learned in insurance, find out what he needs, not what I need. And so I started asking him a lot of questions about him. And I found out everything I needed to know about him. He just needed to be inspired because he was a Rudy. He was told he can never go out to Hollywood. His dad's a doctor. His mother's a doctor. They wanted him to be the same, but he rebelled and went out to be a writer, and they were against that. And he's successful. And so he's a Rudy. And I knew he understood the journey, and I'm about to tell him the way it should be told. But it took 2 more years because I have to go back to South Bend for a job because job that I had, I got fired because my boss was tired of me going out to California, so he just fired me.
Right.
And which is fine. But I took that injustice, that opportunity, made it an opportunity. So I went out, got my own job, cutting grass, shoveling snow for 2 years. Every day I got to clear my mind, get kind of like a new alignment of what I had to do, because what I was doing wasn't working. So I have to quit what I'm doing and find a new way. And I did. I found a new way. One day I get a phone call, message from Angelo Pizzo, who said, I'm not going to write another sports story. Has now been commissioned to write the story because there's a president at Columbia Pictures who went to Michigan State and was a walk-on. And he applied to Notre Dame, got turned down. And when he heard this Rudy story, when he asked the guys from Hoosiers to come in, because he had $25 million to do another sports story, he wanted something very much like Hoosiers again. And they brought him in, said, do you have any stories like you did with Hoosiers? And they said, yeah, this kid from Notre Dame, and bingo, that was it. And he identified with the walk and he identified with the journey. He said, write it. So Angelo wrote it. He came out to Notre Dame. But I didn't tell Angelo what Notre Dame did to me and said to me, and because I didn't want to affect his attitude, because Notre Dame made me sign a letter never to talk about the movie again or walk on campus, or they will bar. I never told him that. But he did come out, write the story, felt the pain, and he wrote a beautiful script, got approved, got green-lighted. And the guy who green-lighted it got fired. From Columbia Pictures, Frank Price got fired. So the movie that was approved is no longer approved. So now we have hey, I got good news, bad news phone call. And the good news was we do have an opportunity, but the bad news, I said, well, what opportunity? I didn't know where he was coming from. Well, Rudy, your movie's dead with Columbia Pictures. So we're going over to TriStar, the sister company, and we're going to pitch it. So we're going to fly you out here, and we're going to go meet Mark Platt and Jonathan Dowdren and Peter Guber, and we're going to talk to them, see if they would do this thing. And we did, and within 5 minutes, they said, let's do it. But I never told them about Notre Dame. Yeah, I had to tell them at that point. I said, look, they wanted to get going with the production. We got to get to Notre Dame on board. And I said, well, look, we got a little work to do. I said, well, I can't go back and talk about this movie, or they're going to bar me from this university. And they said, well, you got 48 hours.
Nice.
That was it. So I go back, and believe it or not, there's little God winks and God moments in your life if you stay positive. And when I went back to Notre Dame, I didn't think negative. I said, okay, I'm going to get this done. Now I got $25 million in a major studio, but I have to do this right. I just can't barge in like I'm a big shot. I have to do it right. And believe it or not, the opportunity came from the provost, where he was dealing with some pain. His parents were murdered and by carnival people. He was dealing with a PR problem. So I walked in on him and said, I could help you, Father. He said, who are you? I said, Rudy Ruettiger. Oh, you're Rudy? I'm hearing about, yeah. Well, I got $25 million at major studio, Father, and to do the movie. He says, whoa, you're moving a little too fast for me. And I calmed everything down by saying, look, let's do this. I want you to meet the writer and director of the guys who wrote the movie Hoosiers. They're doing Rudy. Now, I never told him that TriStar would only do the movie if it was filmed at Notre Dame. I never told him that. I did not want to put him in that situation. So I said to him, look, the script that Angelo wrote, I'm going to give you. Only you read it, and then you interpret it, and you make the decision, because I'll have Angelo and David come here Monday, and you could talk to them. Is that fair? He said, fair. I said, now, whatever decision you make, I'm going to go with, yes or no. That's it. He said, okay. We shook hands. I walked out, called David and Angelo. They come in Monday morning. We go back up to his office. I have those two go in. Now, here's what I heard. I never knew how that meeting went until they walked out, because I didn't go in, because he wants to know David and Angelo. And what's interesting, he goes to dinner with a family on Sunday night, and they go home and watch the movie Hoosiers together. So he was sold on these two guys before they even walked in. Is that cool?
That is so cool.
They approved Notre the movie on the spot, but never told the athletic department. So we got 100% approval. We can go anywhere on campus and shoot. I'll tell you, it was a great experience. And there was also people that I found out during the process of the movie, like Sean Astin, saw him on the movie Memphis Belle, and he represented, my dad was in World War II, not at Memphis Belle, but B-17 bomber. He was a turret gunner, just like Sean was in that movie. And the only reason I watched it because of the B-17, and that's how I found Sean Astin. And Jason Miller, I was introduced to him through a friend of mine at Notre Dame who played Eric Persesian. So all these things came into place, and they all got spots in the movie because, hey, a little God wink here and there. And John Favreau, who was washing dishes in Second City, we cast him right out of Second City, and Vince Vaughn. So they became a big hit. And then they get Robert Prosky. John Voight was supposed to play the father, but his mother got sick, so Robert Prosky comes in his place. Ned Beatty was awesome. Lily Taylor was awesome. So we had a wonderful cast of actors. And we had Scott Benjaminson from Northwestern University played a part. So we got, I don't know, 10 years of not, I hope it happened. It is going to happen, but I didn't put a time limit on it. So I kept working the mindset. And I think your mindset's so important. You can't give up on something that you believe in. Like I watch these athletes today, like Kobe Bryant says to me, he says, you know what I learned from the movie, and you can watch this on USC Rudy interview on YouTube. Just go to that and you hear, he says it better than I. He says, what I learned that kept me going was just work ethic and get better each day. Where will you be 10, 15, 20 years from now? He said he got that message out of the movie because he had all these skills that he was blessed with, and Rudy had nothing. And yet he got his moment. See, most of us could have that moment. We're just ordinary people. And all we have to do is work hard, contribute, and not everybody wants you to win. Even when you do win, they don't want you to win, the people. That's okay. Let them knock you down, but get back up, and keep moving forward. Don't worry about what people think. And I think that's our biggest downfall. We want to know how people look at it. I could care less how you look at me, but I love you.
Right.
Regardless.
Well, I have to tell you this. I'm about 10 years ago, I got to meet Sean Astin, and I had a picture with him, and everybody's like, you got to meet Rudy. You got to meet Rudy. And now for me now to get to meet you, it's such an unbelievable honor, because I can tell you that you've not only inspired me, you've inspired millions, but you've also inspired my children, which is so powerful for me. And I just want to thank you. It is.
I want to thank you for saying that. I just came from Canada speaking to 900 kids. The police department brought me in. And, these kids weren't even born. They had no idea who Rudy was, but we showed them the movie. Then we watched the reactions. It was incredible. And they got the message.
Right.
They didn't care whether I made the tackle. They didn't care whether it happened.
That's right.
They were more involved with the message. They got involved in that journey. And that's where we need to be with a movie, because a movie's about that. Movies are to move you, make you think different. The music, Jerry Goldsmith, we didn't pay him a dime for that movie. He just took the music rights, and that paid off. So we got lucky with a lot of wonderful talent, but he wanted to change and help people through music of this message. Is that cool?
It's unbelievable. I would tell you that I love the quote about visualizing yourself, living your dream until it becomes real. Manifestation and visualization, that's what I see in that movie. I see you inspiring generations and generations of individuals to live this. What would you tell others if they didn't get this? And which I can't even imagine after watching the movie how you wouldn't.
Right.
But what would you tell them? What's the power behind this?
Well, I tell them, just get rid of your past. Don't worry about it. You're okay not to be okay. It's okay. Just make your life better right now. You have an opportunity to think different. Change your thoughts. Change your friends. Change information you're getting. That's the hard part, is changing that information that comes in that makes you feel this way. You know, look, I live in Henderson, Nevada, and sometimes I go get coffee and I see these homeless people, and I see a guy sleeping at a Walmart. He's homeless. I say, dude, you all right? Yeah, man. I said, hey, you need anything to eat? He says, no. I said, well, why are you here? He said, I don't know. That's what, yeah. He doesn't want to eat. He doesn't know why he's there, but he's homeless. So they're lost. And what's happening, some of these people should be in mental institutions, but we let them out in the streets. We closed all those. That's part of the problem. There are veterans out in the street. Look, when I served in the Navy, I knew a commitment with brotherhood. Boy, when you're in the Navy or Army or military, Marines, everyone has your back. And that was important. But once they come out, that becomes different. There's a division there. We got to change that mindset through love, through helping people, through letting them know they're going to make it, just through moments of, hey, you don't have to be the richest guy to be somebody or the best looking guy to be somebody. I'm a great example of that. I tell them, I said, I'm short, I'm ugly. I'm not the greatest athlete, but I made it. If I made it, you can make it. It's just your mindset. It's your attitude. And when you do that, when you manifest that and see that and visualize that, you see your life differently. But visualization is so important. You got to see yourself doing it before you do it.
I was just going to say, I have a kind of interesting share for you. I was talking with my business partner, and his parents went to Notre Dame and were at that football game with everybody chanting.
Wow.
And they told me that it was an unbelievable experience with everybody coming together and just kind of lost for words, really.
Yeah. Wow.
That's
That's
So it was that
Yeah, that's interesting you mentioned that because the student body started to chant Rudy. All right. And whatever the student body does, that's what the fans do. Now, because I was a boxer at Notre Dame, bingo bout boxer, that's a intramural sport at Notre Dame, became very big because we all fight against each other of the halls. It's actual, and we take all the proceeds we send to the Bangladesh missions. But that's how I became known. And I created a fan base. And they heard my story through a write-up through the Observer that someone wrote up my background, and my dream was to play for Notre Dame. And when they saw that I was dressed for that game, some of those people who were my fans, they started chanting Rudy. Now that's huge.
Yeah.
Because some of the football players, they didn't care who I was. They thought I was a joke. What's this guy doing here? And when I got carried off the field, I was embarrassed because it's never happened at Notre Dame. And the people who carried me off, I meant something to them.
That's right.
You just don't know. It's not a joke. When people honor you, you don't have to be honored by the critics. Just be honored by the people who understand your empowerment and what you did for them, like a Kobe Bryant or Mariano Rivera, or you go on and on, or Tom Brady, for an example. His father told me that on an airplane. Rudy was a big moment for him because he was a young kid growing up watching Rudy. So you don't understand all this until you meet these people, from presidents. They brought me to the White House to show the movie. And then you meet people in the audience saying, wow, your movie changed my life too. You don't know that. And I don't say, I wonder if I changed your life. You just walk through life like a regular guy. When I go up and get a Starbucks, get a coffee, they say, what's your name? I said, Rudy. And 3 minutes later, the little girl that's got your coffee says, hey, are you Rudy?
That's great.
Why, yes, I am. Yes, yes, I am.
I was going to say, if you say that you inspired Tom Brady, that's pretty impressive because he really has a strong tolerance for people that don't like him based upon the first Tom Brady that I watched. Yeah. But Rudy, I have a question for you. So my question is there's a lot of people suffering from anxiety, just struggles, personal and professional, could be family. What is your top thing that you would tell them to stay motivated?
Wow. See, the anxiety is a tough part because we don't know what they're dealing with. Let's find out what they're dealing with first. Let's eliminate that. and let them know they're going to be okay. I met a drug addict who's probably one of the best speakers today I've ever met, and because he went through life, he took the challenges, and he was down in his luck, but he became somebody because he started visualizing again what he wanted to be. And even though what he took as a bad injustice, he made it an opportunity to help people because he said there's other people out there that stealing what I'm stealing. Look, I did it. You could do it. So those people, I say, look, you're an inspiration to people. Just do and get rid of whatever thought you have about yourself. Let's work on that because you're okay. And I'm not a psychologist. I'm not going to give him any advice other than empower him again and say, hey, you're going to be okay. Don't worry about it. Just get better. And that's what you have to do sometimes. I met a cab. I'm in Vegas. I got in the cab. And this he's a cab driver, right? He's telling about his vision about becoming a producer. And he's got this idea about this survival deal. This is crazy. And he said, what would you do? I said, you should bring celebrities to your survival. They would make money for just talk. And 10 years, 5 years later, there he is, survival. And my whole point is when you have an idea, you just get around the people who could take that to the next level. What if the mailman didn't meet me? What if I didn't walk out of that restaurant in Santa Monica? What if I stood there and just felt sorry for myself? What if I said, yeah, this wasn't meant for me? What if? You just move forward and keep going towards that dream. What if I would have said at the power plant, wow, another friend, this is not right. Why are you so mean, God? No, you said, God, I love you. I'm going to move forward. And, I learned from it, there's no more shortcuts because he took a shortcut with his life. I said, that was a lesson. No more shortcuts for me, and went towards my dream. I'm not going to live in regret. That's the things I would tell him.
Wow.
Teary.
Yep.
Gosh, I could stay on here all day with him. I was like, I have so many questions, but I know and I respect your time today, Rudy.
No, you're fine. If you have a question to ask.
No, first I just want to say I'm super grateful and appreciative, and gratitude is one of the things that I live by, and just being able to and keep going forward and things like that, and the never quit. It's one of the things that I know that all of us on this panel do as well, is just never quitting and just inspiring everybody that's watching this episode too. Just how can people learn more about your journey other than obviously watching the movie? I know you have a website. Is there other content? Right. YouTube. I think you had a podcast a while back that you had created. How can people continue to consume content with your inspiring messages today?
Wow, that's a great question. We're working at that as we speak to make a little wider platform because I never looked at myself as a hero. I don't look at myself as a motivator or a speaker. I look at myself, hey, I got a message for you. And if you listen, you could change your life. And my book, Rudy, My Story, is a good thing to get because kids read it and they find a purpose. Once you get a purpose in your life that they can identify with. I remember Patty Duke, Sean Astin's mother, talking to her, and she was so grateful for thank you for taking care of my son. All we did was make him a lead, and it's hard to be a lead in a movie. And I didn't understand that till I sat with Sean. He says, how difficult this is to get a lead in a movie? I didn't think that way. I just did what I was supposed to do, and all these things fall in place. See, if you're going to look for the obstacle, you're going to have problems. Handle the obstacle when it shows up because you could do it. Don't look for it because it's 99% probably not what you thought. It's probably something different. So you can handle it. Just know there's a log there. Just know how to walk around it or get through it. Don't look for it coming at you because that's what stops you from doing it. You paralyze your dream. You paralyze your thoughts. So don't paralyze market studies when you hear one. Just If you're going to change something, do it. You guys are doing it. Look, you got a beautiful, you're in Sirius Radio. Who would want to be on Sirius Radio? Isn't that awesome?
We love it here.
And people watching, I don't know how many millions or thousands or whatever. I did a podcast, and I was really going good, and my partner got a new opportunity with Brian Williams, so he went with him. I said, go. And it's just one of those things that I wasn't looking to do a podcast. I wasn't looking to be a speaker. I wasn't looking to do any of this other than, let me play one time at Notre Dame. Let me get to Notre Dame one time. Let me get in academically. Then let me play one time. That's all I want. And the work you have to do for that one moment is unbelievable, but it's worth it. And this is why it's worth whatever you're doing for your moment and your time. It will take time. Look what my moment turned into, a major motion picture, New Dreams. I wasn't looking to do a movie. Are you kidding? Until I got inspired. Dreams come through inspiration, through songs, through movies, through people, through, just all those little things that God puts in front of you can inspire you if you look at it right, if that makes sense.
100%, 1000%.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you so much for joining us. And you're welcome in the studio anytime. You can join us as a co-host or a guest. Now that we know that you're in Henderson. So,
tell Cheryl so she could let me know. And we'll set it up. We'll do that. I'd love to meet you guys in person.
I'd love that. Well, thank you so much, Rudy. And those of you that are watching the episode, be sure to tune in, subscribe, listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, Apple Podcasts. YouTube is a big one. We really appreciate all of you that are watching it. And follow Rudy, follow him on social media. Where else can they find you, Rudy? Social media, website?
Well, we're doing this is interesting. Yes, we're creating right now what we call the walk-ons associations. That means everybody's a walk-on in life. So we're going to create that opportunity for them all to come together. And our first one's going to be in August. But I will give you the information on that. I will follow up on that.
We'd love to support you and share that information with our audience.
But it's you're the walk-on. We're all walk-ons, and we got to know how we contribute. But just by doing what you want to do, someone's going to listen to you and say, "Wow, I like to do what she's doing." And you all have a story. And you all have rejection to talk about how hard it is to get to where you got. People want to hear that. So everybody should tell their walk-on story. That makes sense.
I love that. I just love that. Awesome. Well, thank you again so much. I know we've run out of time for today, but let's definitely keep in touch. And everybody watching, be sure to subscribe, ring the bell, keep in touch with us, leave some comments about the episode and share this out and inspire people to be walk-ons. I love this. So appreciate you, Rudy. Thank you so much for joining us today.
God bless you. All right. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye. And everyone else that's watching, thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.